Hello, good evening and welcome to GPL Express here on TV3. My name is Juliet Bewa and it is a privilege to once again come your way with the program that has become a benchmark for domestic football coverage. Coming up tonight, we are still without a league as we wait for when exactly the Ghana Premier League will resume following the coronavirus pandemic-induced break. This evening, we ask, what do we do with the 2019-2020 season? We will speak to players, administrative officials, and the journalists who cover the league to seek perspective. Stay with us. So we start off at the doorstep of some of the journalists who have been keenly following the league. I'm joined by Godfred Akoto-Boafo and also Philip Sichofe. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
And let me start with you, Godfred. What do you miss about the Ghana Premier League?
What is there not to miss? I miss the travel. I miss the excitement of watching new players. For me, that has always been my attraction to football in Ghana. Finding a new player to follow, watching his progress as he breaks out and becomes a major star. And for me, the past 2 months have been difficult, and also the backstories. The backstories are the best part of our game, and you get that when the fans are at the stadium. So for me, those are some of the things that I have missed the most.
Sicho, you kept smiling when Akoto was talking. I'm sure you definitely missed commentary.
I surely do miss commentary. The planning before that, the whole production phase is something I really do miss. I mean, looking forward to a game every weekend. Today is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm looking forward to get into the commentary box and do what you love to do. And of course, seeing all these players apply their trade in the way they do it, it's fantastic.
And Godfred, I'm trying to figure out why it's difficult for the FA to come up with a clear roadmap.
I'm with you on that, Juliet. I was a bit surprised when, after a 2 or 3 day consultation with various stakeholders in the football structure, and the most important ones are that necessarily being the clubs, the FA decided that he needed a month and a half to make a decision on what to do with the league. As for me, it's a singular act of indecision that is not in the right direction at this moment. I understand the FA feels it must consider a lot of things. It feels that it must consult a lot of actors. But the primary players in the activity of football are clubs. And they need clarity. They need a bit of certainty to be able to plan, to be able to move ahead and do certain things. So for me, I was a bit surprised when after the consultation period, the FA said it will come out with a response on, or a decision on the league by June the 20th. For me, I thought that was a cop-out. We've seen a lot of FAs make decisions, and they've made those decisions within a month. We've been under the situation since March. We are in April. We are entering June in 11 or 12 days. What exactly is the Football Association assessing that requires nearly 2.5 months to come to a decision? For me, I felt it was a cop-out on the part of the FA.
But Sicho, as a sponsor of the league, give us an idea, the kind of commercial loss that it has caused the stakeholder.
It's huge. I mean, quite clearly it's huge. And we are operating a pay TV platform. People would pay monies to watch the content that you deliver to them. And of course, Ghana Premier League is one thing that Ghanaians do love, to pay to watch, either going to the stadium or watching on TV. So you can understand the losses that would come to us as sponsors if we don't have the content that we would love to pay for. So we are losing a lot of revenue as far as, subscription is concerned, both on the decoder basis and of course on the app as well.
But we're not sure if even the league will come back, Sicho, but if it does, are we going to see the same momentum that we saw with, I think, just about 2 games to end the first round?
Generally, we know we are talking about a virus that is spreading across nations, and so people always are going to be scared to get into the masses, go to the stadium to watch football matches. So surely, the numbers are not going to be the same as we saw at the start of the season or getting through the middle part of the first half of the season. It's going to plummet a bit. It's going to take some time for people to feel comfortable coming out to the stadium, and the clubs are going to suffer the most because they're not going to rake in the revenues from the gate proceeds. For us as broadcasters, we are going to do the same thing that we love doing. We're going to give the best to everybody who wants to pay and watch on TV, and we are not going to compromise on the quality that we churn out there. But generally, the momentum is not going to be the same.
Godfred, let me ask you, are you in support of cancellation, or do you think we can work around this and still have it this year?
I think that it makes sense. You know, let's look at the circumstances that we find ourselves in. Before we entered the first round of the league, there were certain teams that had 20 matches to go. Accra House of Folk had 20 matches more to play if we are to continue with the league. A team I support, for instance, like Liberty Professionals, would have 17 or 18 matches to play if we were to continue with the league. If you look at the processes that one has to go through to even facilitate a safe environment to contemplate playing, the psychological training that we have to put the players through, because there's a lot that has gone on into, for instance, what has happened in the Bundesliga that we are taking for granted. A lot of it might not be happening on the screens, because these are players who would have gone through a psych check, all kinds of things off the pitch, just to get them ready to even undertake the physical aspects of the game before they get onto the pitch. Can we provide those facilities here? I do not think we can. So for me, it does make sense to come to a quick conclusion and say, look, there are just too many variables against us as compared to the variables that are for us. And so let us call it a day. When circumstances that are for us outweigh the negatives, we can come back. For me, the limbo doesn't work. And I can explain a bit, Julius, if you give me time.
Yeah.
If you look at, Sicho spoke about the losses that they as the production units are making. Clubs are bleeding. Okay? Even before the league went on break, clubs were bleeding. This particular scenario has left clubs bleeding even more. Why? Because a lot of clubs operate on match day revenue. That is how they pay expenses. That is how they end up paying players. Now, some of them also have contractual obligations to sponsors, the same way that the broadcast sponsor has obligations to other persons. Clubs also have obligations to their own sponsors. Now, some of those obligations are dependent on a time frame. Some of their obligations, including statutory payments, and that is something nobody has considered. Yeah. Clubs that pay players, there are some, even though we criticize clubs, there are certain clubs that pay SNIT. There are certain clubs that pay the payee. Now, I don't recall the government saying that football clubs should stop paying taxes. That has not happened. But for business entities that are not earning revenue, but are still required to make statutory payments, where is that revenue coming from? And that is the situation football clubs have been going through.
Sicho, I'll give you the final word. What would the impact be? Should we cancel the league? And it is something you worry about as a broadcaster.
If you sign a contract for 5 years and you're cancelling a season out of those 5 years, what happens? Are you going to pay some money back? Or are you going to extend it to 6 years? Or does that mean that over the 5 million that the broadcaster has to pay now would have to be reduced because of the cost incursions? Remember that in the 15 games that game weeks that we've produced, close to over 30 games, it's hundreds or thousands of dollars that have gone into these productions, and to what end the seasons are going to end. I think that the easiest thing to do at this moment is to stop it. It's about the easiest thing to do. But then again, what would that mean to our league? Remember that we've not played proper football in this country in the last 3 years, if you like, and this coronavirus has struck the whole world, which I admit. But take a look at what we can also churn out of this opportunity, what we can also make out of it. What are the positives we can focus on and try to get our game back on track? Nobody's saying that we should come back next week or next 2 weeks or probably next month. But if the FA is saying that they are holding on to the end of June, then we get to know the plan that they've got. Maybe, just maybe around that time, the numbers in Ghana would be going down, or would have peaked and would have been declining. And once that happens, then just maybe we can't go back to our game. But to cancel this outright, it's going to be disastrous, and some of these clubs are really going to suffer it, because what that means is that for every budget that they've had with the investment that are going to come through for this season, for the broadcast money, it's not going to come. How about other enterprises or businesses that are looking on coming on board to sponsor the league? The other thing here, Juliet, is that we've not paid attention to some tiny little possibility of raking in a lot of cash. There are several businesses that are thriving well during this COVID time. Not to say that they are happy that COVID is happening, but are taking advantage of it, and they need to sell out. you can imagine that just maybe if the league comes back at some point in July or early August, these are companies that will be looking to get on board to actually push their brands, because by the time a lot of other companies are not functioning.
Okay,
so it's about time that people get to see the franchise that everybody's looking at and begin to want to associate themselves with. And the Ghana Football Association might not have any competition for sponsorship around that period. So for us as broadcasters, it's going to be a big loss, but even bigger for the GFA and the clubs.
Koto is smiling there, but you are talking from broadcaster's perspective and also a sponsor. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining me here on GPL Express.
Always a pleasure.
Pleasure. Always a pleasure.
So you're still watching GPL Express here on TV3. We are back after this. Please stay with us. You're welcome back from the break. This is still GPL Express here on TV3. Now, at the center of all this haze are the clubs who patiently wait on the next steps to be taken and whether they can close shop for this season or not. Kumasi Asante Kotoko CEO Georgia Mwako has been speaking to us.
I must say that this COVID-19 issue has thrown everything out of gear for the entire football industry. And those of us in Kotoko, our core business as a football club has been shattered. You cannot think of what you do normally as a football club from Monday to Sunday. Everything is in abeyance and you don't know what is certain about tomorrow. There's so much uncertainty around. We've had several meetings and discussions over this issue you're talking about. And it is clear to us that it's a bit premature to take a decision on whether to continue with the league or when to continue with the league or to truncate it. I think it's a bit premature. We are in May. We are still in May, and we have just a little bit of time to be able to continue if things come out clear that in June you can start playing football. But for now, nothing is certain, and you don't know when you can be free from COVID-19 and its repercussions. So we might have to wait a while and see what COVID-19 will bring in the next couple of months before we can take a decision. In the light of what we are seeing in the COVID-19, I don't see our way clear in starting football competitions in the next 2 months. Even if we are asked to start tomorrow, you will have to start training for a minimum 4 weeks before you set your team together to be able to play in competitive games. And when would that take you? To take you beyond July, isn't it? So for now, let's wait and see. Let's wait and see and get the advice from the medical and the politicians, and then we'll be able to take a decision going forward. Catastrophic. Even when you're playing your football matches, every Sunday, day in, day out, you cannot meet your costs. You always have to rely on the benevolence of other people to be able to run your club. Now that you cannot earn anything, it becomes very, very, very serious and very difficult to manage. We've had to negotiate with our players to agree to cut their salaries by 30%. Even that is not easy to meet. It affects sponsorship monies. With some of our sponsors, The deal is very simple. When you are in a situation like this, force majeure, they would not pay you the money. They pay monies to link it up with the mileage they will get from your playing football. And if you are not playing football, they are not in a position to pay you any monies. And that is the period in which we find ourselves. We are not getting sponsorship monies paid. So no money is coming from nowhere. And it is extremely difficult for us, extremely difficult. It was not easy for them. Already, their salaries cannot be said to be big enough for them. Already, they are managing with the little we are able to afford, even as coming from Kotoko. So to ask them to come down with a 30% pay cut was not very easy for them to write. But they realized that they needed to do that for the club to even survive, to have them paid at the end of the month. So they took it. After a heated negotiations, they took it. It's unimaginable. We need to sit down to put things together, but we are not earning anything. And we are paying salaries, and we are running around in the office, paying electricity, internet charges and whatever, without earning anything, zero. So that is how you should look at it. It's not going to be easy. We always keep praying that this thing will end very soon. So we cannot even think of what will happen in the next 3 months if we continue like this. But it will be extremely serious, extremely difficult for any club to continue like this for a long time. Even those big clubs in Europe are suffering, and they are asking for player salary cuts. So what about us who are finding it difficult to make ends meet? It is not going to be easy after a long while, and we are praying that things might change for the better.
Now, one of the major concerns raised about the league's possible return is how ready we are in terms of the health of all concerned. Dr. Baba is chairman of the medical committee of the Ghana Football Association.
We'll have to start from the internal arrangements. By internal arrangement, I mean our local league. And what we intend to do is at least to organize 2 seminars for handlers. It could be the masseurs, physiotherapists, or the doctors of the Premier League clubs. One pressing issue that has been going on for years is what we call the PCMA, pre-competition medical assessment of the players. It's mandatory by FIFA for all clubs to undergo it before you engage the football. It's mandatory. If a player is to go out, normally teams would ask for his medical report, which we don't have. It's just the PCMAs that we normally feel. Our first thing will be the education. The other thing is to really emphasize on the PCMAs before the league starts. All participating clubs, it should be ensured that they do it and do it well. Because before you recruit a player, he has to undergo medical examination and he has to undergo a fitness test. But all this, we just brush it. Once he's playing somewhere, he comes, we'll just take the forms, get a doctor to sign. So what we shall do is to audit the PCMAs, because this thing must be done for future purposes. We don't know, any accident can occur, and the international federation would want to know what he went through medically before you allowed him to participate in the game or in the competition.
This is still GPL Express here on TV3. We are back after this. Please stay with us. You're welcome back to GPL Express here on TV3. Now, as the FA and club officials share daily notes on what to do with the league, their ultimate decision will impact on the players who bring the action to life. My colleague Yao Opusulabi spoke to some of the players.
I think before football resumes, there should be so many measures put in together for it to come back. Yeah. Example, are they going to screen each player twice a week before we play a match? Or before you even train? Are your teammates or the entire team going to be screened before a training session is applied? There are so many measures you have to put in place because this COVID-19 pandemic is not something to play with. I think that life is more important than football now.
Okay, I think the testing of players should take place, and then we should make sure we all know how this thing is like. This pandemic, this COVID-19 is like. So I think we need to really observe some protocols if really we are going to get back to playing. Yeah, mass testing. I'm trying to put some measures in place to make sure we are safe. Because as my brother said, Eric said, we are the major stakeholders in this game now. So we a lot of measures need to be put in place for our safety. Because I wouldn't want to come there to risk my life for anything. Yeah, if we have life, we have everything. So I think there should be proper measures put in place. Health personnel sent to various clubs to make sure we go through the necessary checks and everything. I would say I am worried because we should know our stance now, whether the league is going to continue or it's going to be called off. But then they have their own plans, so we just need to give them the time and chance to make sure they actually weigh all options available, and then I'm sure they'll come out with the best option that is going to help us.
So the fans are able to come to the park and share their favorite teams and favorite footballers, because as of now, most of the leagues, let's say Bundesliga now, is playing under closed doors.
Yeah.
So if they're playing under closed doors, you won't see the zeal, like the momentum, the crowd. You understand? So it wouldn't feel the same when you're on the pitch playing. You understand?
Yeah.
But so all the footballers, all the supporters are able to come. All the fans are able to come and cheer up their players, take pictures with them and stuff. I'm not sure football will be the same. I'm not sure.
Interesting conversations there. But that's all we have for you this week. It's been good coming your way once again with GPL Express here on TV3. My name is Juliet. We will join us same time next week. Stay safe.